Previously on your favorite episode.
Her wife is one of the wives. So Martina, they probably aren't going to make it.
Mickey, can you just use the intro from yesterday, or should I do it again?
I should be able to use that. So
okay, well, if you can't, I can just say it again, too, also.
So I have to... Just do it, then.
Yeah, it's cute. Do it again.
Well, I'll do the intro. Well, it's embarrassing because I say nice things about you.
Okay, what if I said nice things about you? Would it cancel out the embarrassment?
Okay, that might work, but that might also make me embarrassed, but I need to get better at that. So I'll do the intro and then you can say a nice thing about me. That's a good deal. I like that.
Okay, great.
Okay. Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of Your Favorite Episode. I am your host, Jackie, and joining me is my partner and producer, Mickey. Our guest today is the fashionista of all the fashionistas that I know, Aubrey Hess. She has impeccable taste, but still wears whatever the fuck she wants. Oh shit, I said it wrong. She has impeccable taste, but still wears whatever the fuck makes her happy, and that's the best, honestly. And today, she's here to talk with us about her favorite episode of television ever. What is it? Season 5, episode 19 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Box. Y'all ready to get into it? Let's go.
TV rots your brains.
That's absurd. TV only softens the brain like a ripe banana.
Television. Much of our future depends on the way we use this medium of communication.
Eventually, your favorite episode will be filmed in front of a live studio audience, but for now, let's talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine with my friend Aubrey Hess. Hello, Aubrey.
Hi.
So happy to see you.
Yes, I'm happy to see you too. This is awesome.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, what made you pick Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
So I would like to say that I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine just fine. I think it is a good show. I think it is an entertaining show. But this episode blew me away. I didn't see it coming as being as awesome as it was. I would put Brooklyn Nine-Nine in background shows. And this is an episode where I stopped what I was doing and watched the entire episode and then said to Caleb, I need to show you this. This was so good. I want to watch it again.
It really is a work of art. I've watched it, I think 5 times this week.
This is kind of a first. Most of the episodes that we've had chosen so far are people that have chosen this is their favorite show and this is their favorite episode of their favorite show. So this is kind of an anomaly where it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine is not your favorite show, but this episode just is a standalone work of art.
Yeah, that's exactly how I would put it. And Community is probably my favorite, at least my favorite ensemble cast show. And I was thinking about it and I'm I don't even know what my favorite episode of Community is. I just couldn't tell you.
How do you pick?
Because they kind of do some weaving, there are storylines and character development and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think there's
character development, but it's different. You know what I'm talking about.
You don't have to have it. I feel like Brooklyn Nine-Nine has the cop procedural thing. So every episode pretty much is encapsulated in itself. And sometimes there's 4 episode arcs or whatever. But in Community, I feel you need to really know the people to be able to appreciate anything about it. You have to know them.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is kind of Monster of the Weeky.
Yeah.
You know?
So for a regular person living out there in the internet who has never seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine before, tell them about it. What is it? Who's in it?
Sure.
All of that.
So Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a ensemble cast style comedy. I would put it in the Office, Parks and Rec style of comedy and humor and casting. Andy Samberg is the main character. He plays Jake Peralta, who is a detective for the Brooklyn Nine-Nine precinct in New York City. Andre Braugher is going to be the chief, lieutenant,
Captain Holt.
Okay. Captain Holt is played by Andre Braugher, and throughout, you come to find out that Andy Samberg's character, has a strained relationship with his father. So Captain Holt kind of like steps in and fills that role. You see like their relationship dynamic and how that changes over the season, and how like the goofy, albeit like fuckboy golden retriever detective kind of wins over the hard-nosed, serious, albeit strict captain throughout the season. And this episode specifically, I would say, is the bottle episode featuring those two primary characters.
Well, tell your disappointment to suck it. I'm doing a bottle episode.
Yes, exactly.
And the question is always with bottle episodes, like, was it their intention to do like a bottle episode, or were they trying to save budget for a bigger episode later in the season? Sorry. Is that something Dan Harmon would do with Community a lot? Like if he had like a big episode, like a paintball episode or something he wanted to do, he would intentionally write in bottle episodes so that he would have the budget to do that. And now I think about that whenever I see a bottle episode in a TV show. I'm like, are they trying to do something here, or are they just trying to save money? But with this one in particular, I think they were 100% trying to do something because it was fucking good.
I didn't know what a bottle episode even was until Family Guy. So there's like an episode where Brian and Stewie are like locked in a safe. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like brilliant, like from a writing standpoint, because like, you can like build the tension and all this stuff. And in Family Guy, that wouldn't have been budgetary reasoning behind doing a bottle episode. It's like, no, we're doing a bottle episode as like a plot mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I can definitely seeing it going both ways.
Mm-hmm.
All right, for the audience, could one of you describe or define what a bottle episode would be?
In my interpretation of bottle episode is like an episode that's all encapsulated in one action scene, like one location, basically.
Okay. Yeah, basically. I didn't learn the term until Community, whenever they had the pen episode, which also confused me because people called it the pen episode, which I thought they meant was the penultimate episode. So I thought it was like, so basically trying to fake through sometimes isn't a great thing. So, if you are confused, don't be embarrassed, ask for clarification and communicate. But yes, a bottle episode is basically a single they reduce the number of sets that they use so that they have all the characters there all the time. So they reduce shooting time, they reduce set building, they reduce costuming, and they try to do minimalist, and it's all mostly dialogue driven.
Mm-hmm. That's why I like them so much. I love dialogue.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to think if there's any like bottle movies, and I'm sure there is, but the minute I try to come up with a list of anything, I forget that any movies exist.
Well,
I can think of bottle plays.
Yeah,
Death of a Salesman is the bottle play, and they made a movie of it. Technically, 12 Angry Men is
that's in the courtroom. Yes.
The first one I thought of was God of Carnage, which is a play, if either of you are familiar with that.
One of my favorites technically is a bottle movie is The Cube. It's a horror movie.
Yes, yeah.
I was just talking about that movie to my hairstylist like a week ago.
And thousands of autistic people around the world are like, yeah!
Fun fact, that is the last horror movie I've seen.
Oh, really? I've been like super into horror this year somehow. I don't know how it happened, but I'm like into it.
Unfortunately, whenever they made a sequel, Cube 2, they tried to make it more accessible, and they ruined everything about what Cube was. So sometimes it just doesn't work trying to make art accessible.
I don't remember the sequel at all.
I knew there was a sequel, but I think it was one of those situations where it's like, it's terrible, just pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, like the sequel to Boondock Saints.
I'm like, everyone always says, like, never see Godfather 3. You don't need to see Jurassic Park 3. Like, you're fine.
Jurassic Park 3 is pretty trash. It is, and I love a good dinosaur movie, but that is a trash.
Oh, I mean, Jurassic Park is Jurassic Park. It's like one of my favorite movies.
I still to this day, like, we had season passes, but every time we would walk into the Jurassic Park section at Universal, I would get tears in my eyes. Just it's so fucking majestic.
Totally.
Even though the dinosaurs aren't real there.
Womp womp.
Okay, so I guess we talked about, we got Andre Braugher, we got Andy Samberg, and then in this episode we also have Gina shows up at the beginning.
Right.
For a little bit as part of the way to annoy the murder suspect, who is the other character in this episode.
Played by Sterling K. Brown, who like makes the whole episode.
Emmy nominated for that episode.
I did not know that.
Yep, for Best Guest Actor. Deserved.
Oh, amazing. I like how he came into like a quote unquote comedy, and there's literally nothing comedic about.
Yeah, he did nothing funny.
He did it was a serious role.
I think
dramatic role.
I think that's one of the things that Brooklyn Nine-Nine does really good, because it's a funny show, but it's still like rooted in like the drama of the police force. It's just not like, ha ha, here's some police jokes. It's like, oh, hey, here's actual police work that gets done and stuff.
And I just think that's something you kind of have to do, like, especially with like, you know, everything we're dealing with in this country. It's like, you know, I'm not going to watch just a cop show where cops are being cops. Like, I don't care.
Exactly.
But this kind of like, you know, because it is so character driven, and because it kind of like, it creates more of a empathetic world than like, say, like Law and Order would.
Yeah. I can't watch any of those like a million season shows. My brain just refuses to, because they're so the same every episode, but also so different. There's just like nothing connecting me to them.
Yeah. I did watch the entirety of Downton Abbey over the summer.
Oh, I have done Downton Abbey. That was fun.
That was one of my projects. I only saw the first movie.
I haven't watched the second one either. I'm afraid.
Yeah, but one of the writing style is more geared towards like homicide, life on the streets. And like whenever they started creating Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they were like, we're gonna do that. And because there's several ways to approach comedy. There's like the, you know, all out slapstick, whatever. Then there's comedy treated in a serious way, or seriousness treated in a comedic way, you know, any kind of flip flopping around. But they wanted to approach it as a cop drama with a bunch of jokes in there. And I think they pretty much nailed it throughout all their seasons. They did a really good job on the writing and the presentation of, you know, the procedurals, the facts, the puzzling, which I thought like the Christmas episodes and stuff, or was it Halloween episodes where they always had the challenge and stuff. Those are my favorite. And this is another one where it's kind of more puzzle solving than cop work, kind of.
Yeah. Caleb always says, he's like, if I could like skip the beat cop and just go right to being a detective, like I could have maybe done that. And this show has like, again, like, you know, that neurodivergent urge to puzzle solve.
Did you watch Psych?
No.
Same
thing.
Little,
like, I've caught episodes, but I couldn't tell you a thing about it at this point.
When me and when me and Mickey first started dating, I was in Palm Bay and he lived in Orlando, and we weren't together one Christmas, and we were both like watching Psych. And if you don't know this about Psych, in every single episode of Psych, they hide a pineapple. And so, like, it's a thing for Psych fans to find the pineapple. It's really cute. And so when I sent Mickey a Christmas box, I put a little plastic pineapple in there, and it's somewhere in this house.
Find the pineapple.
Yeah. we try to keep a pineapple in every room. And it's so, like, now, obviously, pineapples are, like, swingers and whatever. And so, like, we get those jokes. Oh, yeah.
I thought it just meant welcome. Like you were supposed to put one in like your vestibule.
If you have an upside down pineapple welcome mat, that means that is an indicator that you're a swinger. If you're walking, I found this out because of the psych stuff and then Fairvilla later on. If you're walking around the grocery store with an upside down pineapple in your cart, that means that's an indicator to other swingers that you are also interested in swinging. It's such a weird underground world. Right? So just be careful where you place your pineapples is what I'm saying.
You heard it here first, everyone.
I know such weird shit. I don't know. It's like I collect information. Okay. So the episode opens with Sterling K. Brown arriving. Well, no, it opens with Jake doing a bunch of shit to make the room uncomfortable.
And a lot of the items that he does is stolen from Chris Maloney and SUV. Law and Order SUV, SVU. Chris Maloney is prepping to interrogate a suspect, and he goes in and unlevels the chair, makes the table sticky, and changes the thermostat. So basically, he's emulating another top cop, basically.
Fun fact, Christopher Maloney is one of my celebrity sightings.
Oh, tell me about it.
I worked at a summer camp and his daughter was one of the campers.
That's so cool.
And he was he was just there being a dad, like picking her up.
Yeah, we have a talking can of peas in our kitchen.
Yeah, Christian, like, have you seen Wet Hot American Summer?
No.
Oh, that is like the ultimate Christopher. That's why we laughed when you said you saw him at camp, because it's about a summer camp. It's so, like, there's a movie from like the early 2000s, and then a couple years ago they made it into a TV show, and then I think they either did another short series or another movie afterwards. But like, it's fun. It's so goofy. But our whole kitchen is camp themed because of Wet Hot American Summer. So Christopher Maloney's kind of a big deal here. Okay, so he's pouring like soda on the table and like pushing up the thermostat and making Gina greet him, which I think is hysterical. Because
and what did you have her do? I just told her to be herself.
Before Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I did not like Chelsea Peretti at all, but now I love her. Like, something about watching her in Brooklyn Nine-Nine made me understand her as a comedian more. I don't know how it worked, but it did, and now she's great.
I completely 100% agree with you.
Really?
I did not even really, like, that was kind of like, her character was one of the reasons why, like, I wanted to stop watching the show.
I avoided watching it a long time because of her. And
then there was at some point, like, I just got it.
Yes.
Like, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this character's great. Like, this is my favorite character in the show. But it took a minute. It definitely took a minute.
I normally ask this at the beginning, but like, when did you first watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Like, where were you in your life and stuff?
I want to say COVID lockdown.
Because I think that we watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine at a time when we were doing a lot of work on ourselves too. So I wonder if the point when we started to love Gina was when the point we started to love ourselves.
Oh.
Right?
There you go.
Because she unapologetically loves herself.
No, my caption on social media for a long time was a quote of hers where she said, like, you know, Gina Linetti, the human personification of the 100 emoji. And like, I use that.
Okay, I'm going to recommend a show and a character to you because she also has Gina energy. Have you watched Abbott Elementary yet?
So Abbott Elementary is set in Philadelphia, and I'm from Philadelphia, and I have struggles when it comes to watching media.
I can understand that
based in Philadelphia. Like, I've never seen a single episode of Always Sunny. Never.
Oh, damn.
I stopped watching Shameless because it reminded me of Philadelphia too much.
Well, they don't do a lot of like street shots and stuff. It's mostly inside of an elementary school, but there is a character played by Janelle James named Ava Coleman who is like Gina 2.0, and she's my favorite character on TV right now. And I think you would also adore Ava Coleman.
No, that show's on my list just because, like, you know, it checks all the boxes.
I didn't watch it because it's a network comedy. I'm like, oh, it's going to be awful. It's going to be cheesy, but it's beautiful. It's so good. I'm so glad that I watched it.
The BuzzFeed. She started in BuzzFeed, and she was like the original cast, like the original BuzzFeed cast in like 2008.
Wow.
That's where she got her start.
She's what makes the show.
Yeah. And this is like her big, like, you know, all my hard work has finally paid off.
And it has. It's a fucking great show. So he's pouring soda. Okay. And then he brings in the murder suspect. And when Gina greets him, she's like, oh, you're the murderous dentist or whatever she says to him. Like, she just calls him out immediately.
That's who you are. Facts are facts.
I have a recap in front of me. That's why I keep looking.
No worries.
Okay, so he is like, the whole episode is basically just him questioning him. Mickey, I think you might be better at leading this than me, because I'm babbly right now.
So then the dentist walks in. Like, he looks like someone that he is dressed as the character is written. Like, as soon as, not to judge people on their clothing, but the costumer put him in a style that just represents everything that the character is going to be. So from the moment the camera opens up on his shoes, it tells you who the character is. And
it's
so
sexy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even like, Gina is very problematic towards Terry Crews's character throughout the rest of the show. Even like her reaction to him, like, normally she would have kind of said something sexualized towards this character, the dentist character coming in, but she kind of is very dismissive of him, and then is like, oh yeah, they think you did it, and sends him on, and then, you know, sends him back to the interrogation room. And at that point, Captain Holt shows up in a tuxedo. And so, like, the little things of just complete juxtaposition is where the comedic, I don't want to throw comedic genius around there, but that's where they find all the comedy of it. And it's they don't go for easy jokes. It's just, here, let's take this one and throw it in there. So you're in the middle of a police station. Jake's all jacked up, excited because he gets to do an interrogation, which, you know, throughout the series, you learn that Jake really, really wanted to be a cop. Or he really wanted to be a detective. And so, you know, he's living his dream, and this is one of the exciting things. And, you know, Holt asks him what's going on, kind of gives him the rundown. He's like, Jake's already solved the puzzle because, you know, he's good at what he does. Jake is presented as a police officer that actually follows the rules. Mm-hmm. He also, every time it comes to whether they want to break the rules or not, he has a crisis of faith or conscience or whatever. And one of his teammates kind of draws him back across the line from breaking the rules. It's like, hey, we have a set of rules, we need to follow it, which some might question whether it's making the police look better than they are, but that's a whole other business. So at that moment, Holt also realizes that that's what he loves about police work is the interrogation and stuff. So he's saying, okay, well, I was going to go to the opera, but
the Bugs Bunny one.
It is.
And we all know that that's Flight of the Valkyries.
Mm-hmm. Like, I watched that so many times in my grandparents' house. Like, I feel like I could sing it.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see the helmet and the braids
and the gloves giving the Elmer Fudd head massage with the oil. That's the barber of DeVille. Never mind.
My favorite Holt moment in this episode is when he has to call his husband to tell him he's not coming to the opera, and to tell his husband to pick up the tickets that are under his last name, and then proceeds to spell his own last name to his own husband. It's like the Holtiest of Holt things.
It is a very without saying it, they tell you that Captain Holt is neurodivergent in one manner, probably autism, and so he wants, which in all honesty is a perfect job for a police detective. It's attention to detail, putting together puzzles, figuring all this out, and so he wants all the details whenever he's trying to do something, so he in turn presents all the details to everyone else. I suffer from the same thing. Like if I start explaining something like this episode, I go into all the nooks and crannies and pull out all the details and present them to everyone, because I want, if I'm having a conversation with someone, I want them on the same level as I am. And like I always fear talking down to someone, so I try to basically shovel information under them to lift their plateau so that we're on equal ground. And so he doesn't want to leave any questions for his husband, because he's not going to be available to answer any questions. So he's already thought, chess wise, he's already thought 30 steps ahead, and he's going to be like, oh, what if they want the spelling of my last name, and I'll have to present this to my husband so he can get the tickets whenever it's time. So all of that thought process goes into one, and he says HOL, and then they cut away. So, but in there's so much packed into those three letters of him spelling, and it presents his character so much. That's one of the biggest uses of bottle episodes, other than saving budget, is also to really dig into dialogue and conversation of a character. So whenever the issue that they're focusing on this one is the Jake and Captain relationship, and that's kind of a father-son bond, because as Aubrey said earlier, Jake has a problem relationship with his father, so he's trying to find a surrogate for that, which is Captain Holt, which also leads into the whole plot of this episode as well. Yeah. Okay, so Captain Holt is on board for joining the interrogation.
Jake Peralta, his first big reveal is what is said in the calendar for the murder, for the appointment that the dentist was seeing his partner about. Oh God, my words don't want to come today. I don't know what that is about.
It's okay.
So there's a calendar, and the murderer thinks that they have deleted all of the calendars from everywhere. But there was one left somewhere with a meeting scheduled on it. And it said something like, and Jake was really excited to reveal what it was. And the alleged murderer, jumped in with what the meeting was, which was stolen drugs.
Yeah, he was supposed, the one calendar, the original calendar said meet with the dentist
Carol
partner,
or whatever.
Yeah, something along those lines. And then the calendar that they had found that was backed up to a cloud or something said discuss stolen drugs. So the two calendars didn't correlate.
Match up. And Jake was ready with a fancy flip and everything that he practiced outside of the room before they went in to do the interrogation. Jake expressed how satisfying it would be to hear "Oh damns" from Captain Holt.
Oh, yes.
That's very important.
Yes. Could I get 3 "Oh damns"? I will give you no "Oh damns."
This entire episode is one of my favorite things is the Chekhov gun, which is if you present a gun in Act 1, it should go off by Act 3. And so basically we see anything that's preloaded in the scene and yell out, Chekhov's gun, or Chekhov's suitcase, or Chekhov's ruler,
oh, damn.
or in this case, a Chekhov's "oh damn," because Jake Peralta spells out in the the first 5 minutes, they've already told you the entire outline of the rest of the episode if you've paid attention. And then as they go through, kind of like the prophecy that Oedipus gets, where they give them the information and they try really hard to avoid it, but they come around some unseen way to get back
that's
to
the Raven moment.
Yeah. So
like how you predict the future wrongly.
Yes, exactly.
That's the Raven moment.
Yeah.
So they predict everything that's going to happen, but it ends up happening in a different way. So yeah, Jake Peralta says, you know, I'm going to do it so well that you're going to be like, oh damn, oh damn, oh damn. And so yeah, there's that.
And that kind of goes back to too, like, you know, wanting validation and pride, and you know, that's his way of being like, oh, like, you know, you see me.
Yeah, I feel validated.
Yeah, by the father figure.
And like basically throughout the episode, it's just a bunch of different interrogation tactics that fail. Like the next one they try is smart cop, dumb cop, which Andy Samberg, Jake Peralta is on board with immediately.
And I feel like that kind of worked, even in a roundabout way.
He got some more information out of him. And without like going off the timeline of the episode too much, the contrast of him being the smart cop at the end is what kind of catches the Sterling K. Brown character off guard. That is a very good insight that I did not connect. Okay, so they tried smart cop, dumb cop, and then the next thing they tried was to lie about the house, right? About the neighbor house.
Because it's like, if the audience at home is visualizing this episode is like a bunch of little vignettes. And there is that one vignette where they're like, oh, let's just get all up in his personal space.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one of the techniques they do where they're like, you know, getting like, you know, centimeters away from his
devil
face.
Angel shoulder clothes.
Yes.
And then there was the break where Captain Holt, the character that he has created throughout all, you know, this is what, season 5, right?
Yes.
Okay, so up to season 5, from day one, Captain Holt has been serious. He's been in control of his emotions. Some might say robotic at times, but very controlled in all kind of scenarios. He's been through it all. You know, he was the first homosexual cop in his precinct, so he had to go through there. He was the first homosexual cop to be a captain. And on top of that, he's also black in a very white dominated industry. So like he's been through some battles and nothing shakes him, and he's learned to contain himself. And they start having a discussion how dentists call themselves doctors. And apparently this is a hot button for Captain Holt. And he loses control and just goes on this rant about doctors and who can call themselves doctors and who's earned that right and all that other stuff. And he's like, we need to take a break, and goes outside and then ends up taking another break.
Yeah, he's like, I guess that was a trigger for me.
That is hands down my favorite moment in the entire episode.
It's so well done.
No, like, and Caleb and I like have quoted that to each other like over like you know, a couple 2 years maybe at this point. And then when I rewatched it the first time for this and I saw that gearing up, I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this. This is hilarious.
That's so exciting.
Yes. No, that's great.
That's a phenomenon that I don't think, like, I have aphantasia, which means that I can't form visual pictures in my head, but I also have something called severely deficient autobiographical memory, which it's really hard for me to make like any kind of memories at all. Like, I can remember stories that I tell about things. I can remember stories that people have told me about things, but it's like, that's just it. It's stories. So like when I watch a TV show, I'll remember like the way it made me feel or like characters that I love, but I fucking don't remember what happened in it. So like every time I watch a show, it's kind of new to me.
Yeah.
But like, so like I've watched a few shows so many times that I like, the beats are like ingrained in me. So I know the beats of the show, but there's still like nuances that are like new every time. And that's hard to explain. I don't think a lot of people understand that about my brain.
The other amazing thing about that whole dentist conversation is like, you know, it's Andre Braugher and Sterling K. Brown just being awesome at each other.
Yeah.
Like, because there's no, even though it is in a sense like comedic, it isn't. Like if you copy and pasted it and put it in a different TV show, like it was only funny because it's so silly. Like what they're arguing about is like, you know, inconsequential. But they're having a heated debate.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you would take all of their dialogue and just replace it with blah blah blah.
Yes.
And their delivery, their body, the way they held themselves, the camera work, everything put together, even just saying blah 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 at each other, they would have created that same tension. So it was like dialogue was inconsequential, but that's where they were able to fill in the jokes.
Right.
And get the laughs, but in this serious, tense situation. It was awesome.
I think a lot of credit goes to the editors too. Like the editors of Brooklyn Nine-Nine work overtime. Like the timing on the jokes on that show, there's nothing like it. Like the editors have created something very special.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just saying, like in that scene, like the acting chops of those two actors are just so prevalent. And I was like, where did Sterling K. Brown go to school? Where did he study? I bet you he went to like some Meisnery, like, you know, classically trained like acting university. Like I can just feel it. And like he graduated from NYU Tisch School of Drama, and I'm like, okay, so duh.
I have loved Andre Braugher for like ever. There was a show he was on in the early 2000s called Gideon's Crossing. Is one of the first show I remember being obsessed with. I couldn't. It was a hospital show. I don't know anything else about it. But he was great.
He was great.
That's all I know.
Oh, there's the guitar and the just screaming when they're just getting so frustrated. They're like, what else can we, what else?
Like a whole montage of tries.
And the singing was a callback to his Die Hard episode. I think it was the Die Hard. There was another episode from season 1 where he learned to play guitar specifically to sing the song.
48 hours.
48 hours. He learned that song. He learned how to play guitar just so he could interrogate someone in that episode. And
there's one point where Andy Samberg throws a chair, right? Like I forget what makes him so frustrated to throw a chair.
That's like, so there was a they had like a maybe another Chekhov's gun, if you will. There was another moment. He's like, him and Captain Holt were in the other room, like on the other side of the, faux mirror window wall.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, come on, I'm going to get so frustrated. I'm going to throw a chair. And Captain Holt's like, don't do that. Like, I'm telling you not to do that. That's not going to work. That's not a good idea. So when he inevitably does throw the chair, it bounces off the window mirror and smacks him in the face. And that's like the moment where they're like, okay, this is not working.
I always do like a deep dive on like the crew and stuff because like people like costume designers and editors and stuff like that don't get a lot of credit. So in this, and I can normally find something interesting, but this one there wasn't a lot. But the stunt double, Andy Samberg's stunt double, has also stunt doubled for Nick Kroll, Rob Lowe, Jason Bateman, James Franco, Orlando Bloom, and Schmidt on New Girl. So he gets around.
But I think all of those actors kind of like are in that like that family.
And I would have like lumped them all together until like seeing them all together like that.
I'm like, yeah, okay, sure.
I could see it. So I don't know. That's just a weird thing. I like weird things.
Me too.
Oh, there was another episode where Jake was on the other side. He was behind the mirror, and the mirror broke just by him touching it or breathing. Like he got too close to it, and it shattered. And like he wasn't supposed to be around because he and the suspect had issues or whatever. And he just breathed on the glass, and it shattered. But on this one, threw a full-on Waffle House chair at the window, bounced back, caught it in the face. And it's like, well, what kind of window? Unless they updated the windows from the last time. That's my only thought.
They must have, because they had to have learned their lesson.
Right, they had to get stronger ones.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
Okay, so this is kind of setting you up because you went down a rabbit hole when I told you about this. So talking about the editing on this show, I went and did a little bit of research about the editor, and one of his first jobs was on a reality show called Redneck Island. And when I told Mickey that, he did a little bit of a deep dive about it. So
is it streaming somewhere?
Is it?
I don't know.
Let me see.
It was broadcast on the Country Music television channel.
There were 4 seasons.
It was hosted by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, I've only said I love you to 2 men in my life. One was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and another guy was in a dark club who I mistaken him for Stone Cold Steve Austin. So.
It is available, but only for buying.
No, you don't understand my love for early thousands. Or no, you do, because we love them all together.
Yes.
But
there's 5 seasons.
I'm watching Mythbusters from the beginning right now, and I'm like, man, we were just putting anything on television.
Yeah, they basically took Stone Cold Steve Austin and made a Southern redneck style Survivor.
Love it. I want to watch it. I'm in. I'm sold.
I didn't realize, like, when you told me that yesterday, I didn't realize there were 5 seasons of this shit. 5. Oh, and the other weird thing that I found out was about the composer. He's a dude named Dan Morocco. He's been in the business for a hot minute. Like, one of his first jobs was creating the theme song to Say Yes to the Dress.
Okay.
I think that's funny. But before that,
get that.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about these 2 things, but also he did something called Dr. Muffins and Air Jesus.
Is Dr. Muffins not to be confused with Doc McStuffins?
Probably not the same, yeah.
Okay. I don't. Air Jesus,
way long
I don't know.
time ago.
Air Jesus sounds scary. That sounds like some evangelical thing.
I feel like it could be like about some a line of shoes that Jesus released himself, like Air Jordans, but Air Jesus.
Okay, or like Air Bud.
Oh shit! Jesus could be saving all the basketball games or whatever. Or maybe they're like special Jesus earphones.
Okay, or Air Jesus, like Jesus is in the cloud.
Oh shit! Yeah, you could just upload your spirituality to the cloud. That's Air Jesus. Yeah. We have figured it out. Okay, but in the end, Jake does end up solving the thing.
He ends up solving the thing.
How did he do it, Aubrey?
I think it is important here to add a moment where Jake does want to lie in this interrogation. And Holt is like, no, we're not doing that. And Jake's like, no, we're allowed. Like, the Supreme Court said cops can lie in an interrogation, which is true. That exists outside of the universe of the show. Which is, he's like, come on, if we just say someone saw him at the uncle's cabin, maybe that'll get a confession.
Mm-hmm.
And Holt's like, under no circumstances should you lie. Like, that's not ethical. That's not who we are, plus he says, he's like, you don't, by lying to them, you don't know what he knows. So like, you could catch yourself in you could get caught in the lie. So he ends up lying anyway, regardless. That's when the chair moment happened, I believe.
I think
so. Now they're like, so then Sterling K. Brown's character gets a lawyer involved, so they're like, oh no, like,
out, like, I kind of am curious about like why he waited so long. Did he like think that he was going to get out of there sooner and didn't need one? Like, did he think that he could really? I guess he did think that he could really outsmart him.
That character was just so confident, like,
arrogant.
Arrogant. So it was just like, I don't need no stinking lawyer. Like, whatever. Like, this is fine.
I wonder what made him get scared.
If I ever have to go to a police precinct, I am not showing up without a lawyer. Like, not interested. Like, I need to be represented from the second I'm there. Anywhom, he finally gets this lawyer, and they're like, well, you have 15 minutes. You have my client for 15 more minutes. And Jake's like, well, fine, we're keeping him for 15 more minutes then. And in that moment, they're going through the evidence, like, you know, in a last-ditch effort. And they see that, they lead you to believe that it's because Jake tells Sterling K. Brown's character, like, hey, here's the Yelp photo. And the Yelp photo has 5 trophies from a dentist award. But here in the crime scene, there are only 4 trophies. So he paints this picture in this interrogation moment where he's like, you got lucky with the weapon. You got lucky with the surgical suite that you were in because, you know, it's a place that can be sanitized. You got lucky with the uncle's cabin. You kind of had all, you know, you had the means of the opportunity to create this perfect crime.
I felt like he was drilling the word lucky into him.
Yes. Like, you were lucky when you got this. You were lucky when this happened.
I felt like I could feel the slap of every lucky in Sterling K. Brown's face. He did so good in that.
His reaction to the word itself was like someone was hitting him in the kidney every single time.
So good.
Oh, and he's like, well, wait a minute. And actually, and the lawyer is like, stop talking.
Shut up.
Talking. You don't need to say that right now. Like, but he's getting so heated that, you know, he was, you know, lucky that you find out he's like, no, I wouldn't have used that trophy that any like 2-bit detective would have discovered on looking at the evidence for the first time. Like, I use a special kind of dentist polymer that's already in someone else's mouth right now. You know, he's like, basically to say, I wasn't lucky. Like, I'm a genius. Like, this was premeditated. Like, I thought all of this through, knew exactly what I was doing, and I was always going to get away with this.
Oops.
Now, at this moment, Andy Samberg is a good he is a good actor. His mind and whatever is geared towards comedy, and you can see it's when I played Little League and like the perfect pitch came in, you could feel it coming off of the bat. It's like, this is a good hit. Or whenever I was playing soccer and you could just kick it, like when you step onto a stage and you just feel the energy of the room, you just feel it. It's like, that's a moment. And Andy Samberg does a perfect moment of making that realization, like, I just hit the perfect home run. And at the same moment, right behind him, 10 times better, is the realization on Sterling's face. It's like, here is an actor that is in the upper echelon, just getting completely eclipsed by someone so much better. Like, I am not taking anything away from Andy Samberg or anyone else on the cast, but that moment, that 3 seconds of facial expression is what acting is. Like, that is perfection in acting.
And then this is when we get our favorite moment of the 3 oh dams.
Which he deserved.
Oh, damn. Oh, damn.
And that is 3 oh dams. Oh, damn.
He deserved every single one of those oh dams.
Totally. And he got the validation from the father figure.
And then had to just turn around and go straight back to work.
Yes. Yes.
Here's a thought that I had when you were explaining how he murdered in the show. Do you think that the police had to tell the people that had the murder weapon in their mouths that they had a murder weapon in their mouths?
I doubt it.
That's
I doubt
weird.
it. Personally, that's what I think.
So one thing also to point out, at the beginning of the episode, it's presented as kind of a throwaway joke. He says, I'm going to use the line like, you can't handle the tooth. Get it? Because he's a dentist. And it's kind of an Easter egg Chekhov gun, because it is his interrogation style in that last vignette is exactly how Tom Cruise is interrogating Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men, and basically the presentation of the cop or lawyer that's questioning knows the truth, and they're asking a different set of questions, trying to get the person on the stand or the suspect to basically spout out the truth. And so they kind of mimicked A Few Good Men in that interrogation, and it worked out because it was the same abrupt eruption from the suspect.
Mm-hmm.
I would have never noticed that. Would have never noticed the Law and Order part in the beginning either. That's amazing.
We watch a lot of stuff, and we're both autistic.
Yeah.
So.
No, listen, I freaking love watching stuff.
Me too.
I love analyzing the stuff. I love pondering how much better it could have been if they would have just hired me.
That's one of our favorite hobbies.
Like, why didn't you call me? Like,
we're trying to convince our friend Tara to start a production company and then just work with all of the amazing people that we know.
Yeah, Tara, come on.
Oh, and speaking of production companies, my last note on this is I think this episode would make an excellent Fringe show.
Oh, I just thought of a bottle movie.
What?
Clerks.
Yes.
Yep. They're all in there's a scene in the car, but other than that, they're all in the complex.
Yeah, but the car's just kind of a cutaway.
It's got one of my favorite lines of the whole movie in it.
I'm just saying, as far as, but sometimes in if bottle episodes you go too long, you kind of have to have something outside.
Yeah, break.
And
right.
And I believe that was kind of forced on them as well.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
I know, because I know them. There was one scene where they had to add to Mallrats in order to add another song, in order to Miramax made them put songs in there so that they could get more money.
Yeah.
Copy. No, and I brought that up because I want Clerks to be a Fringe play.
That would be great.
That's like that's a fantasy of mine. I'm like, come on, why isn't this on the stage? This would be an amazing stage show.
I have a Fringe play fantasy too. Mine is Big Night. It is a movie about food. That's it. It's probably my favorite movie of all time.
Really?
Yeah. It's definitely I think so.
Oh, Moon with
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, yeah.
That was good.
It is a very bizarre movie.
Yeah. Very strange. I think we did the thing, right? We did the thing?
Yeah.
I think we did the thing.
All right.
Did you want to was there any other stuff that you wanted to cover?
Oh, I do have 2 questions for you. When you are doing a binge, do you skip the theme song or do you watch the theme song on whatever?
Oh gosh, I would never skip the Dexter theme song ever.
My daughter did a ballet to that one time.
I would never skip that.
It's good.
That's up there. That's the one that jumps to the front of my mind. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I would skip the theme song.
Yeah.
I watch Bob's Burgers every single day, and I skip the theme song. But I think there are definitely shows where the intro is part of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And the Dexter intro is a work of art.
I think.
Oh, would never skip. I've seen Community countless times. I would never skip the Community theme song.
You sing it.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a good song. I think that with the heavier shows, it helps to watch, like when you're doing a binge, it helps to watch the theme song and sometimes the credits, so you have time to process all of the things that happen. Because otherwise, for me, if I'm just going from episode to episode, it's just like whiplash, and I know things happen, but I don't know, I didn't have time to process them, and the credits and the theme song is the perfect amount of time for me.
I think it's becoming a new art form as well, because commercials are becoming a new art form because they have to basically fit into 2 to 3 seconds what they used to have 30 seconds for. Same thing with intros, like The Politician or
my favorite intro.
Severance was also another one, and all these other, like some of these newer shows that are coming out are trying to build in there hidden messages inside the tapestry, basically.
The Politician is so good.
Throughout the show, you're going to hear we're revealing the entire plot of the show. You just have to figure out kind of
how it fits in.
The wrong prophecy or the misinterpreted prophecy.
And even like Ozark did that to a lesser level, where like at the beginning of every episode there was the O with 4 icons in it, and each represented something important from the episode. That's what made Ozark fun to watch for me.
And each of those icons was ARZK, or yeah, it's spelled out Ozark.
Well, didn't you can you also track there was definitely when intros and theme songs were almost like mandatory, picture like the stereotypical 90s sitcom. And then there was a period of time where I would say shows didn't have theme songs at all.
It was just like
yeah, they got rid of theme songs.
It was the It's Just of it all.
Yeah,
it's just everything.
Yeah. And then now theme songs and intros are making a comeback because they're making them have artistic merit, not just, these are the actors, these are their names.
Because they're making it about the art instead of the commercials again, and that is exciting.
And it was also part of commercialism where they went from like 22 minutes an episode to 20 minutes an episode. So where do you cut out that time? Do you, chop off plot? That's when the end credits would start flying up the screen. That's when they started overlap. Like on Fox, you would have the shrunken box with the credits from the Simpsons rolling while the next show is starting their outro credit, or the commercials are starting. It's like, whatever.
Well, and now with streaming, it's like, well, there are no rules.
Yeah,
whatever.
It can be as long as you want it to be.
Yeah, and I mean, episodes of Stranger Things are like mini movies.
Did you know that on HBO Max there is a Yule log, like an Adult Swim Yule log that's not actually a Yule log? It's a 90-minute horror movie.
No, I did not.
Like, I love that people are doing shit like that. Like, it just looks like you're watching it says Yule log, and you click on it and you watch the Yule log for a little bit, but then it's a horror movie. It's not great. But it's such a fucking it's like a fucking low budget movie, but it's so cool that people are able to do shit like that.
Right. There's like an art form is being reintroduced.
It's really
now
exciting.
That for sure.
So if people want to keep up with you and your exciting life, how would they do that, and where would they do that?
So I am on Facebook and Instagram at Aubrey Hess Costuming. So those are both of my handles for that.
That sounds amazing. Do you have anything exciting coming up?
I'm currently working on a TV show for Investigative Discovery. So I'm working on that now. It is my first costume designer for a TV show credit ever.
Yay! That's so exciting.
Yeah, so that's my big project at this time.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
One last thing, on our way through, like, we were invited to a very, very special wedding even before we moved, and the first person that Jackie thought of to put together a look for this wedding, because we were going to go to the wedding and show up,
and we did,
and you were the first person she thought of. And when we did have to relocate to Detroit, she still kept in touch and validated all of her stuff. Basically, you were the father figure of fashion for Jackie.
Love it. Yes.
She wanted your validation throughout the entire process. True. And thank you for being there for her throughout everything.
And also thank you for being real with me.
Yeah.
So fun.
It's my job. Oh no, be real. Yes.
Yes.
Be real. Be real.
Yes.
Our app. Yes.
It makes me so happy to see people's faces every day.
Yes. You're my Be Real soulmate of 2022.
Yes. I forgot to tell Mickey that. Yeah, we are soulmates. All right. Well, I'm going to awkwardly wrap up because that's what I do.
Okay, heard.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Heck yeah.
I'm about to monologue, son.
Better make it quick. You only got 8 minutes.
All right, then let me paint you a picture. I'm Philip, a successful periodontist that's become addicted to diazepam, a sedative I take because I'm junkie scum. Also, for real, addiction is a disease I would be super empathetic if you hadn't murdered a man.
What is the point of this?
I'll get there. So, one day I'm working late when my boss Robert surprises me. He found out I was stealing meds. Again, junkie scum. Also, again, not your fault, there's a major genetic component to addiction. He says he's gonna file a police report. I could lose my license. We fight and something in me just snaps. So I grab the first thing I can find and I hit him with it.
You still have no murder weapon.
I do now. Here's a pic I found on Yelp of the surgical suite 6 months ago, and here's a shot that our crime scene photographer took of the same room 2 weeks after the murder. Notice any differences?
We're not answering that.
That's all right, I can just tell you myself. The Yelp shot has 6 of these heavy-looking glass awards from the Brooklyn Periodontic Society in the background, whereas this shot only has 5. What happened to number 6? You murdered Robert with it.
I didn't.
You lost all control and you bludgeoned him to death. There must have been blood everywhere, but you got lucky. You were in the surgical suite. It can be sterilized. You never would have gotten away with it in your carpeted office.
That's not what happened.
Don't say anything more, Philip.
And your office manager would have heard all of the screaming, but she was at her grandson's play. Lucky again.
You're wrong.
You put Robert's body into a wheelchair and shoved it in the elevator. It's a miracle there wasn't blood everywhere.
That's not true.
Now you're in the garage with a corpse. You panicked and left your phone in your office, and you don't have your car keys, but Robert's are in his pocket, so you put him in his car and you take off.
No.
You can't believe what you've done.
No.
Philip.
You're flustered. You have no GPS, so you just start driving.
No.
Philip.
Next thing you know, you're in the Pine Barrens, and it hits you. Your uncle's cabin. He has a place there. You're the luckiest son of a...
It wasn't luck.
Yes, it was. You got lucky at every turn.
No. I knew exactly where I was driving. I left my phone in the office on purpose. I was in a surgical suite by design, and I didn't use some glass award that any idiot would clearly see was missing. I made a rod out of a special dental polymer, killed him with it, then melted it back down. It's already in a patient's mouth, son. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Oh, damn!
And that is 3 oh dams. Oh, damn!